line in general and different people. But anything I can help you with, fire away.
Well, I was talking about you were talking moving somebody over to guard.
Well, Eric McLean gives us a little more flexibility this year, you know, moving from tight end over in the spring, and he played tackle. And we didn't ask him to do a great deal at two positions because it's not fair to him. He had to learn to play first in the offensive line because it's different. And, you know, he adjusted to that pretty well. And so this summer, you know, we said, hey, there might be some possibilities at guard. You get in there and learn it and work at it and see what you think. And his teammates, and of course he does too, but his teammates are very impressed with, you know, how physical he is and his ability to be in there. You know, kind of now tackles are a little more finesse, pass block, and you know, you big guys are more inside now. But we're a little different in that everybody pulls, everybody's got to be able to run, everybody's got to be able to think, because you know, we do multiple schemes up front, which is really good.
Obviously, Brandon Thomas left you guys last year, but would you like to see maybe Isaiah Battle emerge there, and maybe you could use Brandon at guard? How do you approach him?
Well, yeah, ideally that would give us more flexibility because, as you know, my first year here, Brandon played guard and had to fill in there for us. Well, you know, and don't know how long it'll take. We had hoped in the spring that maybe Isaiah might be able to step up, but didn't quite get that accomplished. He's got a lot of work to do. You know, I'd like to see him have a little better summer putting on weight and all, and you know, he hasn't, but don't get me wrong, that don't mean you can't do it, obviously, but those are some things. Isaiah, he loves to play basketball, and he'll run his weight off pretty quickly, you know. But he's strong upper body strength. He can match most people in the group, so you know, he's very good at upper body strength. Just like having a little bit more bulk about him. And obviously the knowledge. You know, he has to spend time in the summer. I can't be with them, so they have to teach each other, look at tape, you know, being committed to doing those things. And some are, you know, your older ones are good at that. The younger ones still don't believe cow horns will hook you till it happens. And, you know, it's kind of like Isaiah getting thrown in the game at the bowl. You know, it was culture shock for him. The speed of the game. Oh my goodness, they're moving around. They're not just sitting still. You know, what did I do? So there's a lot. You know, he's got to mature in football.
Given the situation that he was in hindsight, looking back, didn't he hold up?
Oh yeah, he did. He did very well. When he was targeted correctly, physical was not the problem. You know, it's just the mental aspect of the game, because you know LSU was sending them from the stands and everywhere. So you know, you got to really know what you're doing there at the end. You know, particularly
because you have such good flexibility with Brandon Thomas. If August camp comes to a close, and say Battle is one of your top 5 guys, or you have confidence in him to be the front man at left tackle, where do you look at with Thomas at that point, whether it be right tackle, maybe left guard, or what would?
Well, it's a good point because it gives us some flexibility. As we said, you know, Brandon has played guard. He obviously in the bowl game he had to go over and play right tackle. He was a little rusty, but he could do it. He's that athletic. You know, I want to be fair to him too. I want him to be comfortable because I want him to have a great season as well. And you know, it will benefit his future for everyone, for us and for his, even at the next level, to know multiple aspects of the game up front. So yes, he could play guard, he could play right tackle. Gifford could play guard. You know, he's a stout guy with his hand on the ground. You know, there's a lot of ideal situations we can create, you know, at 1 or 2, because Joe Gorsey figures in this too. He's been having a really good summer, And, you know, mentally is the big thing. And when we say mentally, we're talking about all the movement and people everywhere, you know, and that just takes experience, and that's what they don't have. You got to film study, you got to do a lot of things on your own, not just the time with me. But Joe Gore could figure in that picture too that would give us some leeway to put Giff at guard and do some things. So, yes, you're exactly right. That could happen.
I guess you feel pretty good about having Ryan and Jay step in
Yes,
for
yeah,
Dalton.
we do. You know, and it's funny. They had a great battle in the spring. Really did good. Both of them ran the first unit. Obviously, Ryan being the older, more experienced playing wise, you know, he did a really good job there. And if we started tomorrow, you'd probably pencil him in at that position. But Jay Guillermo just will not go away. He's bound and determined. He wants to be on the field, and that's what I love about him. You know, he loves the game. He works at it. He loves the weight room, and so he's going to compete. One of those two could play guard as well, because you know Ryan did that last year. So it's a good bunch. We got 2 seniors, and the rest of them, you know, mix and match, and some youth, and good mixture. I'm really excited about the group.
You've used Kalen, and he's been in big games. Joey Beasley's been in big games, but there's another level that both can reach. Talk about just trying to get that out of them.
Well, it's a good point. Kalen's one that, you know, he has the ability. What he's got to do is set his attitude. That's what he wants to do. Sometimes, you know, he doesn't take football seriously, and you know, a lot of young people are that way. But he has the ability to do great things. He's really got to work. You know, he missed a year with back injury, so his lower body strength is just now catching up where he should be, and you know, you really have to work at that, and it's happening. Something that's not fun for him. You know, to be a great offensive lineman, you gotta love the weight room, and that's what, you know, Brandon Thomas, Jay Guillermo, the list, Ryan Norton. I mean, you can name a lot of them. Eric McLean, they love the weight room, and they're working at it. I mean, Brandon bench 500 pounds. It's unbelievable. It's just put him on hold. I don't know what he could really do, but you have to really enjoy it, because too many young people, and I was one of them, you know, I wanted to compete against you, and I was embarrassed because other people did more than I did. But the deal is, you compete with yourself. You get as good as you can get. You can't worry about what everybody else can do, and you'll make progress. And that's what this group has to learn. Sometimes they don't want to go in there with Brandon and, you know, Tyler Shatley. He's going to bench 500 pounds. I mean, Tyler's it's unbelievable. You know, he loves the weight room, and it's hard for some of them young ones to fall in that group.
Like at this time a year ago, when we sat with you, there's still some unknowns with Tyler and how he would do with the transition. I guess he more than answered any of those questions.
Oh, absolutely. You know, Tyler obviously is a smart young man. We're talking book smart. He's a graduate in engineering in 4 years. It's very difficult to do playing football. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have a little advantage because you got summer school. But, you know, he's a graduate playing his last year, and he hangs on every word. Better not tell him wrong. He's going to do what you tell him. And that's the exciting part, you know. And it's like all walks of life, in your business as well. You got a handful that sit there and they're picking their nose and staring at the bugs or whatever, and, you know, where Tyler, you know, he's very focused on exactly what you're talking about, what we're trying to do, and it was all Greek to him, you know. We try to show them what the backfield action is going to be, so you can kind of project and predict what their reaction is going to be. And he hangs on it. He wants to know that. And that's exciting. You like to have a house full of those now. And we got several.
As you head into practice in 2 weeks, what are the biggest areas you feel like your line needs to improve as a whole to improve on its performance from last year?
Say that one more time now.
Where do you feel like your line needs to improve most to kind of improve its performance from last year?
Knowledge, just experience. And that comes, people say, well, how hard is it to learn? It's not hard to learn on paper or on the chalkboard, but it's when the bullets start flying or defenders start moving, I should say. Things change, they can move a foot or 6 inches one way or the other, and things change, and we got to be on the same page. And that's why Brandon and Tyler and Giff, you like to get that steady guy with you, because everybody works in pairs. Everything we do is basically together. Obviously one's on an island because there's 5 of us. But in the spring, we had some class conflicts, like Brandon was student teaching and he's a graduate as well. So it had to be done. So he misses a day. And it's good in one sense because you got a guy that gets a little more reps, but you don't build that continuity of 5 of you working together as one. And we missed a little bit of that in the spring because of some different situations that were going on. Because when you get older guys like Tyler and Brandon, they got to have these courses and to graduate. So it was good and bad.
Ideally, how many would you like to play? If you just had a number and everybody, there's no drop, not really a drop off, as far as depth goes.
Well, that's a great question. You love to play 2 full lines, particularly in the heat, as the season starts. You like for, a second line to go in there and give you 10 or 15, 20 plays, just to let your first group regroup, because when you start the game, the adrenaline is so high and excitement, you sap yourself very quickly. You have a couple of long drives, and you can about dehydrate them that quick because of, all the adrenaline. So you'd ideally love to be able to run a group in there and get a series or 2 here and there. But, having 10 ready is hard to do. So what we try to do is we ask everybody, to learn to play at least 2 positions, because that helps you learn the whole picture a lot better. But it also gives you an opportunity to get on the field. And it's hard to practice every day and not get playing time. Let's face it, be honest about it. But you have to earn that. And our motto in the O-line room is the best 5 start. So you have to be ready, rather than you might be the 5th best player, but you're the backup center. So if you haven't learned those other positions, you can't get in there. And so that's why it's a little more important that you get. Brandon Thomas was a good example. Like I said, the first year here, he was a left tackle, but he played guard. We had injuries in there, and it was a great thing because he comes in and was able actually even to beat out a player because he was the 5th best player. And that's why he ended up at guard. And that's probably one of the better things that ever happened to him, because it gave him a better working knowledge of the whole system. And it's helping him, for his future.
I guess prouder and reason as to the heavier guys. How are they? From what you heard?
Well, Spencer had hip surgery, and so he's slowly coming back. He's getting his weight down. He's been working at it. He's made some progress in that regard. And Tyrone, obviously, when he hurt that wrist in the Shrine Bowl, had surgery or whatever, during the season. I guess he thought his wrist was connected to his legs because he didn't continue to work out. And now he's having to pay the piper. He's lost 30-something pounds. So, you know, he's doing well. He's got his mind set now. He wants to play. So he understands where he's got to be and what he's got to do. And he understands the mistakes he made. And, you know, before entering college. And hopefully we can rectify that pretty quickly.
You say he's lost 30 pounds since
Since the spring game. He's
Okay.
lost 30-some odd pounds since the spring game. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Wish I could do it. Coach Batson now, that's what I'm saying, our strength staff, you know, from Larry to Paul to you know, Smo, they just do a super job in there. They spend all summer, you know, every day, and it's very good the way they handle them and get after it, work hard. I don't have the stats to prove it, but just watching, you know, and seeing each individual, we're probably stronger than we've ever been. Now, can't quote me on that because, like I say, I don't have the stats to prove it, but just looking at it, they have really busted their tail in there. It's encouraging.
Did Crowder's weight gain just come from getting out of his routine and just?
I think so. When he had surgery on that wrist. I'm not sure when he broke it, to be honest with you. Coach Brooks was the lead recruiter there, so I'm not sure if it was in the Shrine Bowl or prior. Ryan may know.
Before that.
And you know, it affected his weightlifting. He loves to lift weights now. He is a bull in the weight room. I mean, he hang clean 420 something. It was amazing. But anyway, but like I said, he forgot he could still use his legs. You know, and when your season's over, you don't realize when you're young like that, just enjoy eating. And it's a whole lot easier going down than it is coming off. I tell you what, I'm living proof of that.
You talked a lot about Brandon's ability to play a lot of different positions. 6 months from now, when he's getting ready to move on to the next level, how much will that help him, his stock, and potentially getting drafted high and all that kind of stuff?
Based on past experiences with players I've had over the years, that's very valuable to them, to be able to, if they need a guard, if they need a tackle, you know, they only get to keep like 8 linemen. Some teams have different approaches to it, but usually they keep about 8 offensive linemen, and they usually have 1 or 2 on the practice squad. So being able to step in there and play, I give you the best example I can give you is I had a first rounder one time, and he started at left tackle one year, and the next year he started at guard. And it's just having that capability, and those two are very similar.
Who was that you're referring to?
It was Chris Williams, and when he signed with the Chicago Bears, he came out and started at left tackle the first year, and then started at guard. I think it'll prove valuable to him down the road.
You sort of had the luxury last year of knowing, pretty much knowing that Ryan Norton was going to be your next center. Talk about what he learned from